Hey y'all, we are back with another dense update. This update is sponsored by California Peptides and Herd Athletics. Here we go. Now, as much as I would love to not have to talk about Brian Friend, he did address the community's response to the Rich Froning podcast. He talked about this on his most recent live show, previewing the Wodland Fest coming up this weekend.
All of those guys that in that group, they're all super talented. They all have great things to contribute to the community. I don't think that I've ever suggested that they don't.
Huge part of the community that despise those guys. And that's the problem that I've observed from CrossFit.
So he said everything that he said on the podcast only to say the exact opposite after the negative response from the community about it. His co-host PC also had something to say about it.
I knew what Rich was doing. I knew what Scott was doing. They're having fun. They're having fun at your expense, and unfortunately,
And I didn't get that vibe at all. Scott was a listener for nearly the entire podcast, and so was Angelo. Most of the conversation was between Rich Froning and Brian Friend, and I don't think Rich Froning was having any fun at Brian's expense. So I'm not really sure where that came from. Were you watching the same podcast we were watching, PC?
My place is to not interject unless I'm needed.
I mean, the first time that Scott came into the camera was 34 minutes into the podcast. He addressed his feelings about the reel and saying there was excessive squatting, and then nothing again until about 54 minutes into the podcast, where they're talking about the WFP. And then finally, Scott asks about an ownership change, and at no point were they having a laugh or making fun of Brian. So PC.
Come on, man.
And like I said before, I would love nothing more than to not have to talk about these guys. But if you continue to say stupid shit like that to spin some sort of narrative, I'm gonna call bullshit.
Bullshit? Bullshit?
Rich Froning put out a new podcast, and they actually talked a little bit about this. It's a really good podcast. They start off with pretty much recapping that previous podcast. And
seriously, at one point, I'm listening to Brian talk, but I'm not really listening. I'm just looking at your mouth, praying that you would say something.
And then they get into the team workouts, Angelo being on a team that hopes to make it to the games, pointing out that the run, Scott says it best about the run.
That's why you don't program an outdoor run and an online competition.
With a shorter field and only 20 teams making it to the games, there is a potential that this one workout could skew the leaderboard and some people on the bubble might miss their shot. Rory even called Adrian Bosman live while they were talking on the podcast, and you got to give him respect. He stands his ground. He thinks that people are going to cheat regardless.
You got 2 judges at a minimum. You've got 4 members of the team. You have the affiliate that is being performed at. And if they're all willing to lie to cheat some team into the open, that's a pretty big problem that extends beyond just points on leaderboard.
I'm with Scott on this one. I just think it's a terrible idea.
I also know that there's a track record in the community of there being turds. That's the hard part.
You can watch that full podcast with Rory, Angelo, Scott, and Rich on CrossFit Mayhem's YouTube channel. Coffee Pods and Wads had another episode of Around the Whiteboard, this time with Taylor Self, Andrew Hiller, and Colton Mertens. Some of the questions debated on the show was, should online qualifiers be abolished? What is the World Fitness Project missing? And does CrossFit really care about the athletes? Taylor was the winner of this Around the Whiteboard, but the best answer of the entire show was the quietest one.
Taylor, you got 60 seconds. Your time starts now. Go. Is this like Noah Olsen taking a minute? Is he going to ask for it back at the end?
You can check that full episode out on the Coffee Pods and Wads YouTube channel. Now, the Barbell Spin put out an article that several athletes have withdrawn from Wodland Fest. Sarah Sigmundsdottir, Fabian Benito, and Michael Wiswaskli. Say that 10 times fast. Sarah Sigmundsdottir's coach, Justin Kotler, letting the Barbell Spin know, saying that she would rather focus on the Red Bull Renegade Games. Fabian Benito, who already competed previously at the Mayhem Classic, just basically said that he has to think about himself and nobody else. Okay. And then Weslowski, He is a 2023 Games veteran, and he has been having some serious health issues, and he is focused on getting that all sorted out. Barbell Spin on their regular Wednesday episode had 2 representatives from the AFJ on. I'm not trying to knock the AFJ whatsoever, but the reasons that they give for how this all transpired just didn't quite make sense to me.
And it's easy to see in retrospect how Brian missed that and how we all missed that. So we checked everybody else's certifications ahead of time, and then Brian being the director of competitions, that's kind of his area. He sent over copies of certificates. But when he logs into his dashboard, it says on there, it has the L2 badge moniker. So he legitimately did not realize he was not in current status with his L2. It was news to him, shock to him.
Brian Clapp was the director. Basically, what he told them was that he had logged in and looked, and when you log in, it gives you a badge of your credentials that you hold. And that it just said L2, so he thought he was fine, and that was it, and went on about his business. But as you all know, if you hold an L1 or an L2 or any credential within CrossFit, and it is about to expire, for 3 months leading up to the day it expires, you are bombarded with emails. I know I was. And he didn't know his credential was about to expire. I'm not really sure that I buy that. And then they played it off as if it's not that easy to find out. And I'm going to show you guys just how easy it is to find your credentials. The day you took them, the day they expire. I mean, it's all right there on the dashboard. It's going to log me in. I'm going to go to my little thing up here in the corner, my little icon. I'm going to go to manage my account. And when you open up the home page of CrossFit, here's what you see. This is the page he saw. His badge, all that good stuff. If you go right over here to the left and just hit courses and credentials, look what you get. You get every course you've ever taken. You get the day it was issued. You get the day it expires. So you can watch the full episode on the Barbell Spins YouTube channel. And well, it's not like we already didn't know, but we had a good idea. Kale Layman has deleted his Instagram account. This comes just after Keeping It Real did a pretty extensive investigation into his open scores. He took some history of previous events that Kale had been in, specifically an IFF competition where Jack Rosema beat him in all of the events, and he built this crazy AI model that could figure out here, you watch.
I have spent 3 days and probably 10 total hours obsessively using AI to build statistical models based on the facts that we know that would accurately predict Kale Layman's open scores.
And now with Kale deleting his account, it pretty much tells us everything we need to know. So I guess we won't see him at Syndicate Crown. You can watch that video on Keeping It Real's YouTube channel. Now, I don't often check Danielle Brandon's story unless somebody sends me something. I'm just kind of not interested anymore, to be honest. And we all remember she was getting a lot of heat back when she had a little bit of beef going on with Taylor Self, and they had that exchange on Instagram that then turned into a YouTube video and so on and so on. But if something comes up within the ecosystem that is largely being talked about it, I'm gonna talk about it. She's kind of been laying low until now.
You know, I love it. I love putting people on blast sometimes when what I do find absolutely pathetic, though, is these people who think they're adding value to the world with their platforms just constantly searching and looking for ways to call people out.
Oh, is she talking about Jenny?
I wish for once she would just say a name. But like Taylor said, she never says anyone's name. She never really calls anyone out.
It can't be Jenny because her comments are all so positive.
Right. The other thing about Danielle is you don't put anyone on blast. You've never added someone in your fucking life. You're like that passive aggressive 4-year-old who subtweets. All you do is subtweet.
You think it's pathetic when other people do it, but not when you do it.
Like, I could not imagine using my platform solely for that.
And yet here you are.
You're creating just like such.
I also find it wildly hypocritical that someone who is supposedly a professional athlete, who most certainly doesn't add any value to the community, who throws toddler-like tantrums on the competition floor when things aren't going her way, thinks that what I am doing is pathetic. But if you want to call someone out, don't be a chicken shit about it. And also don't be a hypocrite about it. Because the one and only time that we had a conversation, you came into my DMs And you were giving me information about another athlete that you didn't like, hoping I would call them out. And for what reason? I don't know. Maybe to deflect some of the attention off you, maybe to spin the narrative that you're not the mean girl and other people are the mean girls. I don't really know. So what is more pathetic? Me using my platform in ways of which you don't agree with, or you going out of your way purposely to try to throw someone else under the bus to make them look bad? You don't have to answer that. That was a rhetorical question. But things like this are the reason that fans are getting so sick and tired of athletes putting themselves up on this pedestal. And I've always said, oh, there's so much drama in the CrossFit community. There should probably be a reality show about it. Or if anything, a recap about it. I saw a void, I took a chance, and here we are. You could feel free to say and think whatever it is that you want about me. That is okay. It is not going to hurt my old lady feelings, I promise you. But at least have the balls to say my name. And my name is...
That dense bitch?
She got chalk on her hands, lip gloss on the mic. Talking PRs and drama, yeah, her takes ain't light. Deadlifting truths in her crop top fit. In every box, know her name, yeah, that dense bitch.
That dense bitch?
Big brain, not big bench. And when she walks in, whole squad gets tense. She say what she want, no filter, no flinch. Dropping CrossFit tee with a snatch and a twist. That dense bitch.
That dense bitch?
Yeah, she built like a barbell. Pretty face, big chest, got some cartel. Hot takes with a side of protein. She the queen of the scene in her Metcon dream. That dense bitch.
That dense bitch?
Got a what and a war to start. Talking smack in the chat like it's modern art. Brains, maybe not, but the biceps hit. And she always bring the fire when she talk her. Did you hear what Jess did at the 6 a.m.? She got caught skipping reps, now she ghosting them. And Mike's on roids, girl, we been new. That dense bitch got the scoop like a pre-workout brew. No PhD, but she studied your form. Correcting your squat while she rides the storm. Opinionated, caffeinated, unregulated. Pretty and hated, she's celebrated. She ain't dumb, she deliberate. Big boobs, big takes, she ain't delicate. And when she talks, the room goes hush. Cause even the coach be scared of her touch. That dense bitch.
That dense bitch?
Yeah, she built like a barbell. Pretty face, big chest, got some cartel. Hot takes with a side of protein. She the queen of the scene in her Metcon dream. That dense bitch.
That dense bitch?
Got a wide and a war to start. Talking smack in the chat like it's modern art. Brains, maybe not, but the biceps hit. And she always bring the fire when she talk her shit. Yeah, she loud, she proud, and she benching your man. Takes no notes, but she still got a plan. Call her dense, but she flex on cue. That bitch got the news and she prettier than you.